Okay. Hey guys, it's Delphina of CoachWellness.com here with Maggie of MargaretStevens.co.
Hi guys.
If you've been following the last couple of videos, you know that Maggie and I are partnering together to host a retreat, a one-day retreat called Damn Good Biz. We're doing that here in Tampa. We'll post all the details below. But something we've been doing is that we wanted to offer you is some little bite-sized snippets where we can dig deep into some of the things that we'll actually cover in our retreat. And so today, Maggie is going to talk about actually leveraging people for their help instead of, as opposed to being afraid of asking for help. And so, Maggie, why don't you talk to us, just give us a general overview first of what you mean by leveraging people for their help.
Okay, so thank you so much for the lovely intro as always. And leveraging people, there's this misconception around there that when you're leveraging people that you have to have a crap ton of money to do it. And that is so not true. It's not even funny. So when I'm talking about leveraging people, the whole point of it is to kind of get out of your own way so you can make more money so that you can have a bigger impact. Because obviously it's not just about the money. The money's nice, but there's a purpose for that money. But as you start to take your business serious and as you start to grow it and as it starts to grow and scale and you're getting all these awesome referrals and customers and things like that, you're going to eventually hit that wall. And I talked about it in the other video in batching about a self-made wall. This is another example of a self-made wall that we all go through. It's just a matter of how you manage it. So that self-made wall is you're only going to have so many hours in the day. You're only going to have so much brain juice. You're only going to have so many skills. So when you start to hit that wall, or even if you can beforehand, this is what I want you to do. I want you to focus on bringing in people and using them as a resource. You know, think of them as a physical resource that you have to scale and grow your business so that you can always get back to the 20%, which is keeping your customers happy and giving them an amazing experience so they buy from you again, again, and again. So, oh yeah, go ahead.
Maggie, that's fantastic. I love that idea. And I wanted to ask you about one misconception I know about when it comes to actually asking people for their help. I think a lot of people are, I think a lot of people are scared to ask for help. But I think a lot of people also feel a responsibility to do as much as they can by themselves. Like, this is my business. I need to do X, Y, and Z thing.
Yep.
And also scared to give their information to a stranger. I mean, sometimes you're working with someone you know, like a friend, a referral, something like that. But sometimes you're going to Facebook groups and grabbing a referral from somebody you hardly know, or maybe Upwork.com or Fiverr or something like that. And people are just, afraid to give their sensitive information, their logins, their passwords.
Yeah.
To, these supposed experts in X, Y, or Z thing.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that a little.
So I'm actually going to split that into two things, because the first thing that you brought up, which was a really good point, is there's this misconception / fear that we have to do it all ourselves. And I cannot tell you any brand at all out there that does it all themselves. Like, no matter how small your business is, no matter how micro or negative your budget is, no one is doing it all themselves. And here's how I can guarantee that fact. You're always going to be bouncing ideas off people, or talking to someone, or asking for advice, or asking for this, or asking for that. So even though that's not a monetary transaction that you're doing, you're still not doing it all yourself. And the whole point is you shouldn't be doing it all yourself. If you are, or if that's your goal, you need to take like a hard pause and reevaluate why you have this fear of doing it all yourself. That is the number one way to lead to burnout, entrepreneurial depression. Your business just kaputs. You run into so many more issues that you're not even going to be needing. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And, entrepreneurial depression is real, especially for females. We're so used to taking care of everyone and everything. And then when we start our own businesses, we do the same thing. We're like, I'm going to be Superwoman. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to be the mom to my employees, or to my vendors, or the this and that. And, we'll talk about boundaries in a different video, but it's one of those things that you need to learn as a business owner. Think of like a Fortune 500 CEO. They are not writing every email themselves. They are not shooting the videos themselves. They are not doing the website coding and all of that. They have a very specific role. So when you're leveraging yourself and you're asking other people for either advice or help or just, an ear, you need to first off understand what is your role. Your role, regardless of whatever your business is, your role is to focus on the 20% of activities that makes your business money. So if, and I'm going to use a real life example from our motorcycle shop, our brick and mortar. So for anyone that is a brick and mortar, they can, kind of play along too. Our role is to get customers' motorcycles repaired in and out as quickly as possible and make their experience as pleasurable as possible. So that means, they feel comfortable, they feel confident, they feel excited, and maybe they get a new resource or, place to try out. That is our role as a company. So my role as one of the owners is not to get bogged down writing all these emails, or it's not to get bogged down trying to add a Facebook pixel to my website so I can do better Facebook marketing. That is not my job. So when you start to hit that ceiling and you realize, oh, I need to start bringing people in, I don't want budget to be an issue. And that's where we'll kind of transition into the second thing you brought up, which is, we're asking all these people for help. How do we get over that fear of trusting them? So regardless of your budget, and it really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm talking about when I started and we were paying $5 for this and $5 for that for like website help or resources. If you have a limited budget, Fiverr is a great option if you don't have an existing network to tap into. And on Fiverr, feel free to interview them. Like you are a CEO. Any CEO would interview a vendor that is coming into their business and possibly touching what you consider your proprietary stuff. So feel free to interview them, and a couple of questions that I always like to ask is, do you have examples of previous work? Is it okay if I talk to those people, especially if you're doing like higher level things? The more money you're spending, the more you want to vet their resources. So who can I talk to that has done X, Y, and Z? And, I always even like to ask them, like, how can you help me grow my business? Because the whole point of bringing in that vendor is to make your business grow or make it more streamlined or faster. Like there is an end goal to what you're asking them to do. So if you can be clear about that ahead of time, and then you can interview these vendors right off the bat, you'll definitely see like who's a professional and who's not, who responds quickly, who doesn't, who really understands what you're doing and who doesn't. So that's a very tangible way to kind of get out all of these fears of, oh, I'm, hiring my cousin's son's brother and he does website stuff, but you don't know, like, does he do great websites? Does he do crappy? Does he understand what you're trying to do? So the more information you can get ahead of time before you actually have that transaction of, handing over money, the more comfortable you will feel. And another little side note is if you are going to be sharing passwords, and this comes from my IT background, if you're going to be sharing passwords or sensitive login information, if the website that you're using doesn't give you an option to set up an admin password and then have like specific user passwords, go in right before you do the work, change your password to something like totally random that you would never use ever in your business. Give them that set of passwords and login. And then when the work is done, then switch it back to something else that you would normally use. So it's another kind of buffer way that, they're not getting like the keys to the kingdom, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And, if you're letting them into your actual back end of your website or something like that, you can also assign specific things they have access to.
Yes.
To be an administrator for absolutely everything.
Exactly.
Great point. And I love what you said about just that you're not supposed to wear all the hats.
No.
Bigger companies, whether they're just big or small businesses than you are, or they're gigantic corporations like Nike, for instance. I mean, if you have multiple employees, you're going to need to have your marketing department. You're going to need to have your accounting department. You're going to need to have your HR and everything like that. You can't fulfill all of those roles by any means, because you alluded to this also, you'll get stuck in your business and then you won't be able to operate in that 20% that you talked about in that creative space where you're actually working on your business and moving it forward.
Yes.
Putting all of your energy and passion into your projects,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that you can send them out into the world to people who actually need your help.
Yeah. Well,
I think what you said, it's
mm-hmm.
just, sorry. And
You're
then
good. I love it.
I think you said this in a different way, but by asking people to help you, you're able to give your own, you know, expertise and help away to
Mm-hmm.
the people who need it, that are looking for you.
Yeah.
And by not,
yes.
then you kind of, you know, you can spiral into, as you said, that entrepreneurial depression or other really ugly, dark places.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too with all of this is, you know, I definitely am a proponent of making sure, and this kind of comes back to the vendor piece a little bit, you know, I use the term vendor for anyone that I'm hiring to support me in my business. So it can be a supplier, it could be my Facebook person, it could be my marketing person, it could be a designer. So I use that word, you know, very liberally. But when you're hiring a vendor and you kind of don't know what you're doing, you know, say it's something where it's like advanced Facebook marketing, and you know, like basic stuff, but you really don't know the advanced stuff of like how to get into pixels and retargeting and this is and that's and all these fancy words that people throw around. Another thing that I notice way too many females will do is they will hire someone that just kind of chucks a bunch of fancy words at them versus forcing your vendor to explain things so that you understand them. And that is a big, big, big thing. If, you know, if you're going to hire a vendor and you're chit-chatting and you're interviewing them, if they make you, you know, what you need to look for is they need to make you feel comfortable. They need to make you feel confident. You need to feel confident in like that they can do their job, but also that they can explain what they did. Because just because you don't need to know every single piece of it, you still need to have control of your business, and you need to understand what they're doing, even if you don't know the mechanics behind it. And that kind of brings up, like, if you're going to be hiring, and here's a perfect example, if you're going to be hiring a bookkeeper for your business, not only do you want a bookkeeper that specializes in your industry and in your market, so a brick and mortar for our business and the brick and mortar, we have one that not isn't just a, you know, she's just not a general bookkeeper. She's not just a brick and mortar bookkeeper. She is an automotive specific bookkeeper. So like we really niche down because they're going to save you, especially when it comes to bookkeeping, taxes, and all of that. They're going to save you the most money. They're going to see where you're losing your money the most. Like, you know, we always are having conversations with our vendor of like, okay, where am I losing money? Where can I streamline? Where can I this? Where can I that? And this is what comes back to when you're interviewing your vendors. They need to be able to explain what the hell they're doing, because if they can't explain it to you, they're not a good fit for you. You know, and it's okay to burn through a couple of vendors and, you know, try them out and not like them and, you know, not hire them again and move on to someone else. I mean, I can't tell you how many bookkeepers we went through before I found one that not only was niched, but she was really great at explaining what she does. So that's like what you're like shooting for. They explain what they do really well. They understand your business, and it just feels like a good fit.
That's awesome. That's the way that you explain that, I think, is definitely not explained so articulately.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that's really, really good. The niching piece, and also the piece about you know, the female population tending to go with people who sound like they have high qualifications, but may not actually know how
what the hell they're doing.
A person who is an expert in the other things, but not in that particular thing you hired them for. You know, because you are the CEO, and you have to know, okay, this person is basically telling me I'm making bad decisions here and good decisions here.
How do I fix the bad ones?
Yeah. What are those things so that we can move forward differently and better? Yeah.
No, I have a, thank you.
That all so clearly.
I have a background, like a, you know, back in the distant past was I had a background in IT. So I've always been in industries that were male dominated. So I have a lot of different insight as to how, you know, whether they mean it or not, sometimes men talk to women in a professional aspect a little bit differently. So, you know, that's why I love kind of bringing it to the surface as a female business owner, as a female CEO. think of you as the person that's running Dove or, Garnier Fructis or whatever, like big brand out there that's kind of female oriented. You deserve to have someone explain to you so that you can understand it, and you should never feel uncomfortable asking that. I can't tell you how many times I'll tell my vendors, like, I have no clue what the hell you're talking about, or just telling them, hey, let me use you as a resource. I don't get it. Can you kind of break it down a little bit for me? And most of the time they really kind of geek out and they'll appreciate it if they're the right fit.
Yeah. I had to do that recently with two people who helped me on different projects. They were speaking on very technical stuff.
Speaking tech.
WordPress and related to Facebook ads or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, I am not a technically challenged person.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with technology for not being an IT person. My husband's an IT person, so like I get that flows into me a bit. So, but I, and being a non-technically challenged person, I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. And I had to say to them, what do you mean by this? Can you break that down further? Because I don't understand this the way that you said it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are happy to break it down for you.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said. And it just does everyone a service so that, you all can have a partnership that actually works.
Yes.
So that's a really great point as well. I wanted to ask you, I think this would be really helpful for anybody watching this video. What are the top 3 things that you would delegate out first? If you had to choose just 3 that a person would get off of their plate and find an expert to help them with, what would they be?
First thing that pops into my head, because I didn't. So anyone watching the video, we don't prep the questions ahead of time because we want it to be super authentic. So when we're asking each other these questions, like, you're getting the answers on the spot. So first thing off the top of my head is definitely a bookkeeper / accountant. Whether you need someone because you're having enough revenue, like a small business, you need a bookkeeper. Like, if you run a small brick and mortar and you do not have a bookkeeper, for the love of God, stop the video and go find someone, or reach out to me. And if I know someone, I'll gladly help you with that, because that is such a critical piece in your business when you're a brick and mortar, because you have all of your local and state taxes that you're responsible for on either monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis. And if you screw that up, that can not only put you out of business, that could cause just a ginormous ripple effect. So bookkeeper is someone that I always recommend. Get a good bookkeeper, get someone that fits you. Just because I like mine, you may not like mine, and that's totally okay. There has to be a really good fit. And just like I said, the money the money implications just like boggle my mind if you don't have a good one. Another one that I would say right off the bat would be website help. So I am semi-decent with websites. Like, I can build some, I can tweak them, I can kind of understand it. But when it comes to anything other than like the outside view of a website, like my knowledge just stops. So I've even had in the past where I've reached out to someone on Fiverr or someone on OfferUp or, whatever platform I'm using, it doesn't matter the platform, but I've reached out to people and said, hey, I need you to fix my Google loading speed, because I seriously tried for like a week on figuring it out, because I'm like, oh, I've designed websites in the past, I've done it for fun. I should be able to figure this out. And it was just so techy that the amount of time I wasted in the week, this dude had it done in like 4 hours. I was like, are you kidding me? It was $60. It made my website load like a gazillion times faster so that it don't lose people going to my website. It was $60 for 4 hours, and I spent a week wasting my time when I could have spent a week making more money. So, I definitely say website help is another one. Bookkeeping, website help, and then I'd say a coach. So coaches, and that's kind of a loaded topic, but coaches are what you make of them. So I have a business coach that also is my bookkeeper. Like, she does business coaching based on your books. So I get to double dip a little bit, which is really awesome. Not everyone gets that. But I would always say, look for someone in your industry that does what you do, that is niched down and understands your lingo and your business, and really have them look at where are you log jamming your business, because that's, we're going on 2+ years in our brick and mortar. And where I'm at right now and what I'm obsessed with is clearing out the log jams so that the work flows in the business and out of it very, very seamlessly, regardless of the time frame. And you're wanting to do the same thing. And sometimes you need a coach to kind of, that's been there, done that, to see where you're going. And maybe you're not having that problem right now, but maybe you're starting to create that problem, and they can kind of like divert you away from it. But definitely a coach that has done what you're wanting to do. And I'm very specific with that, just because when you're doing business, you want someone that has like hands-on experience. Even if it's only a couple years ahead of you, they have to have done what you're doing. I normally am not a fan of general coaches, just because at this stage of the game, you need someone that's specific to see where are you messing up. Like you said, what's good, what's bad, how do we fix it? And, most of the time you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck if you niche down versus just have a general.
Yes, absolutely. Being someone who has worked with different business coaches, it is really important to find someone who is niche, who gets you. A general business coach for someone like a health entrepreneur is not going to cut it. You need to find a business coach who helps exactly that kind of niche. If you're a wellnesspreneur, if you do something else, if you're a business coach, and you're coaching other people on their businesses, but you also need to be coached up.
Yeah.
You want someone who coaches business coaches.
Yes.
To better their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
If you're some sort of artist, maybe you're a musician, or maybe you are making pottery on Etsy or something like that, and you want to expand your business, you need to find a coach that works with not just artists, but
online artists.
Online artists that are doing this manual labor of art, and not music per se, stuff like that. It is really, really important, because although there are general concepts that will always overlap, the delivery of the message needs to be tailored to you, so you can actually hear what people are saying.
Yes.
Follow the directions, get out of your own way, and move forward.
Yeah. Well, and I think a general coach, because we both have worked with coaches in the past. A general coach is, there is a place for them. I think a general coach is great when like you have no clue what the hell you're going to do and you're just starting out. Like maybe the first, no more than the first 4 to 6 months in your business. But once you've passed that 6-month mark, you need to have someone that's niched. So maybe that first couple of months, general coach can kind of help you narrow down from like wanting to do 19 billion things to narrowing down to what you really would be amazing at and you would get paid for. And then from there, you switch.
And there are actually some great like online business courses that you could take to teach, to help you narrow down. Your niche. I remember doing Marie Forleo's B School course myself, and she talks a lot about if you are multi-passionate.
Yes.
And how to narrow that down. So
and we've done B School. We both have done B School independently, so we're both huge proponents of it. And we'll make sure to have the link in the show notes. But she has the program that we got access to as a separate little baby program, and it's called Start the Right Business, I want to say. And that program is fantastic. So, maybe your version of a coach is an online program that you paid for. A coach doesn't always have to be, especially when you're starting out, a coach doesn't always have to be like a physical person you're paying for like a 1-hour therapy session, but you do need to get help and support, and you do need to start realizing, okay, like what's the good, what's the bad, how do I fix the bad? You need to start recognizing what's the common theme in the bad so that you can have tangible things that you can tackle so that you are making results, not just like being busy.
Yeah, exactly. Not being busy.
You're CEO. Like you got shit to do.
Positively affects your business.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm not a business coach, but I've had, this is my second business. I was a personal trainer for a long time. And 2 things that I delegated that helped me a lot were, I got to a place after I had my son where I had so much junk in my email. It was actually stopping me from doing from productively working on other projects that I wanted to work on, because it was like that space, the clutter there translated to brain clutter.
Yes.
It was making me nuts. So although there is still some clutter there that I have to clean up, I'm gonna be honest. It was so much worse, and I actually hired someone to help me declutter this specific pile of things that had, you know, amalgamated in there, and I just needed it out.
Yeah.
And it was inexpensive, and it was a short-term project. So, that was something that really helped. But I think email management is a big one for a lot of people. I know I'm not the only one telling this story.
No.
And the other thing that has helped me a ton delegating is to ask for help with social media marketing. So when you get a little further in your business, not even a little further, but when you are very certain of what you're selling,
yeah,
who you are trying to give your message to find someone to help you, market that message effectively, whether that's on Facebook or whether that's on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
There's the stuff that you do independently that where you may batch your social media posts and stuff like that. And we talked about that a couple episodes ago. But then there's the stuff that you may need help with, because again, you don't have time to be an expert at social media if you're already an expert at, doing your art and craft, right? You need someone else to help you with that. So
yes,
a couple of things that helped me a ton. And I wanted to share that in case, anybody else has lived in that story, that space as well. So, but are there any last things that you would want to add in to this idea of delegating?
And I was just thinking about it as you were bringing up your experiences with like hiring people, even for the short term. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing that you will run into as a business owner as you move forward, and I'm talking from like the 6-month mark on, is your job, like your second job. Your first job is always, always, always take care of your customers. Like nothing can get in the way of that. But the job after that, like the basically the iceberg that you're not seeing, is attacking clutter like a ninja. So that means, and I do this all the time. I'm constantly writing down where we're having a breakdown in our business, where we're having a breakdown in our communication, where are we having a breakdown in getting stuff to the client effectively, or getting, stuff from the client effectively. Like I'm always looking for, where is a process in my business not seamless? Where is a process in my online website not seamless? There's a couple of resources that will be in the email. If you're watching this in the email, just look below. But if you're watching this on Facebook or anything else, make sure you sign up for the link below and you'll see the resources in the email. There's definitely a couple of resources that you can use to kind of help you get rid of like clutter. But that really is from like the 6-month mark on, is just like, write down where does it not feel like a flow. And that's the easiest way I could pinpoint it, up until about the 2-year mark. I'm like, God, this feels really clunky. This feels really hard, or very time consuming, or soul sucking. So if you're using any of those words, that's a manifestation of clutter. So just kind of keep a note of like, where are these issues are happening, so that when you have the space and time, and whether it's a resource or it's brain space, to really start diving into those areas to see, okay, like how can I get rid of the clutter? Because the more clutter you get rid of in your business and your workflow for your customers, I'm telling you, the more money you will make, not just as a one-time thing, the more money you'll make consistently. So like that money, if you're looking at a graph, the more clutter you get rid of, it's like, it looks like that. And it just keeps going up and up and up, and it's consistent. And you have amazing raving fans because you've made their life easy, because your life is easy. So they feel that energy of like, you got your shit together, they can have their shit taken care of. And everyone is just dying for that right now. So like I said, that's a little bonus thing, but definitely keep an eye out and just write it down. Where is all this clutter in your business? And whether you're hiring a coach, whether you're hiring someone on Fiverr, whether you're just taking an afternoon and popping over to Starbucks and brainstorming, how can you get rid of that clutter? That really will make a big difference.
I love it. Look for the red flags.
Yes.
And get it off your plate.
Yes. Yes.
It be expensive.
No.
Use the help. We should make a hashtag for this or something. Get help, be awesome.
Yes.
Anyways, Thank you guys so much for listening to
Yeah.
Maggie and to myself, Delphina. As Maggie said, we will post links below to some of the resources we've talked about. And we will definitely post a link below to our workshop, Damn Good Biz. Join us if you're in Tampa. If you're not in Tampa and you feel like flying out, join us. We're happy to have you. And look out for a couple more episodes in the future. They'll be popping up really soon.
Bye, guys.